Hello there. Hi there. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I wanted to, in this intro, talk about why I chose this palette, the original one, which I've had for a year. And I was really intrigued by this magenta, and then this called Gumdrop, and then this duochrome color, which is like a rosy, coppery kind of magenta shift color, which is called Hot Toddy. So those are the two colors that really drew me into wanting this palette last year, and so I bought it, but it was one of those palettes I didn't use. So in order to spark some creativity and to prevent myself from buying an unnecessary palette, I thought I would do 7 looks with this palette. So I wanted to quickly show you. I've used every single color in this series, which was kind of tricky. It looks like a very warm tone palette, but what's tricky here is that these two colors right here, Spice of Life and Spiced Rum, they're more on the cool tone side, and while this magenta is more cool toned as well, it definitely pairs well with some of these warmer shades and jewel tones like the purple and other pinks. But these two colors, like, here's what they look like swatched. So this one has kind of like a green tone to it, like an olive color, and then this one, it looks chocolatey on my finger, but when you actually wear it, it's more of a kind of almost neutral but slightly cooler toned shade of brown. So looking at the palette here, there's not a lot of colors that I would choose to wear with it. So for Spiced Rum, I ended up pairing it with this, which are the only two real options. And then the other color I kind of had some trouble with was Spice is Nice. But I'm wearing all that today. I'm wearing this brown, and then this rust color along with Spiced Toddy, or excuse me, Hot Toddy on this eye look, which is day 7. So anyway, other than that, I do like the palette. I think it's pretty blendable. I like the colors. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and here are the full 7 days of looks using every single color in this palette. Let's go. Rise and shine, it's morning time, and look number 1 is starting. But first, clean up the face, make it look a little cleaner and prettier, do the brows. Starting with a base color and just popping that all over the lid. This is a great way to kind of tone down any redness or pinks without having to use a full concealer or anything of that nature. For today's look, I'm going to take this cooler brown shade and just kind of buff it into the outer V of the crease. I'm using a small brush to really concentrate that color here. It's kind of a scary look at first, but I will blend it out and make it look prettier using a fluffier brush, as you can see here. Just really dispersing and softening up those edges quite a bit. But I like the shape that it's making here on my eyes. It makes my eyes appear a little bit brighter, bigger, bolder. And then I'll take this nice, beautiful metallic shade. I forgot the name of it, but putting that onto the center of the lid, I find that it's easier to blend these out with a finger versus a brush. And if you have any struggles with blending metallics, I encourage you to use a finger and not a brush at all. It just kind of helps to mold and shape that color across your lids a little bit more. And then of course you can take a fluffier brush to disperse and soften those edges. Then, soften that into the inner corner, which I left purposely blank because I'm going to apply a different color there, as you'll see in a second here. There it is, that shimmery champagne color, as a pop of color in the inner tear duct area. If your eyes are a little bit closer together, kind of like mine are, then using a lighter color here in the tear duct area helps create an illusion of separation. Whiter set eyes just kind of balances the overall look for you. And then of course, make sure you blend everything. So now onto the bottom lash line. I figured a little pop of color would be fun here. So yeah, I applied that. And now the finished look with mascara and all that stuff. Ensues the dramatic up-close eye shot, haha. And for lips, I just used kind of a matte neutral color with the gloss over top. And that's it. See you on day 2. So on this day I was having a little bit better of a skin day, but nonetheless I still started with a clean face for you and used a soft pink to brighten up the eyes, and then took this more plum shade and used the same kind of technique I did the day before in kind of shaping the eye on the outer crease area with it. But because I wanted a little bit softer of a look, I blended this out a lot using a really fluffy brush. And then I used more of that pink to really soften up those edges. Now for the inner lid area, I wanted it to be a brighter white, so I used this cream pencil and kind of did the old school NYX jumbo eye pencil thing, but this was one from Sephora instead. And just used my finger to blend that out, and took this white shimmering shade and just popped that over the top. And now I'm back to using my finger to apply eyeshadow. Sometimes it just works better. Now with this dark brown shade, I am applying that to the lower lash line using a liner brush, and then using a fluffy blending brush to add a little bit more intensity of that purple, and then just kind of layering colors back and forth until I get the intensity and look that I'm going for. Now for finishing up the look with mascara, lips, I'm just applying a simple lip gloss here because I wanted the attention to be on the eyes, which, as you see here, is kind of smoky but also bright and awake looking. So yeah. Day 3, woot woot, we've made it this far. I am really surprised here, obviously. The color applied pretty heavily into that crease and kind of patchy, so I took a big fluffy brush to blend it out and then smudged that under the bottom lash line just to kind of create some continuity there. Using sweeping motions, I'm applying this mulberry shade to the center of the lid, kind of moving from one side to the other. I used a fluffy brush to kind of soften that up towards those edges to disperse it, creating a seamless transition. But the key here is to blend, blend, and blend. Now for gold. Gold and mulberry is one of my favorite combinations, so I used that in the center of the lid to just kind of pop that and use my finger to blend it. But I really enjoyed how this look came together. It just takes a little extra blending, and I figure using the best tools possible are my finger and a fluffy brush. And I just took my time to really work these colors together so that it would be a seamless transition between them. And of course, no look would be complete without recreating those colors on the bottom lash line, so there we are. Then for our brow bone highlight and transition blending color, I just used the light skin tone color and softened out those edges. Now for lips, just a nice pink color with a gloss over top, and that is it. Woo, bye! And a little montage because I really loved how this turned out. Alrighty, welcome to day 4. Woot! I think today is Wednesday because on Wednesdays we wear pink all over the lid and also in the crease. So for this look, I'm taking a really dense brush and using that to apply the magenta shade in the outer crease area and outlining the eye shape. Now for this plum color, using that to kind of soften and blend out that magenta towards the lid shape, and then softening that even further with a fluffy brush. Then I'm taking this really pretty shimmering metallic plum color and applying that to the center of the lid as a little bit of a brown tone, so a little bit of blending to marry those colors together using fingers and or fluffy brush. Makes that transition between colors a lot softer. That look wouldn't be complete without using more magenta on that bottom lash line and just blending that out. And because I love shimmer and pops of sparkle, I am taking that shimmering color and applying that as a topper to the center of the lid and in the inner corner of the eye, and then just using a brush to just soften and clean up those edges. And I'm going back to kind of a basic soft light pink gloss to finish out the look. And one quick tip on wearing pinks and berries is to make sure you have concealer under your eyes to make sure that the pink looks intentional and not like you're tired. And yay for day 5. Now for brown. This medium brown shade as a a crease color. Again, it's a little patchy, so I have to soften that out, but I found that I had to really work this color out. And you still see it's a little patchy, so I just decided to take lighter colors and kind of work those into the crease and on the edges to just really soften that to disguise the patchiness. Then going in with this kind of medium brown, I popped this into the center of the lid thinking that it would be shimmery enough for the lid, but unfortunately it wasn't. So then I took this kind of champagne-y gold color and applied that over the top to create some separation. I decided to take the dark brown and create a cat-lined shape using the shadow to both top and bottom lash lines to disguise some of the patchiness. And then for this gold, I decided to marry that into the liner and into the inner corner of the lids to create some additional fun pops of color there. And then that's it. It wasn't my favorite look to do because the brown was so patchy, but I was in a rush to get out the door, so I finished up with some pink lip gloss and called it good for the day. But here we go. Alright, we're almost there. Now we're on day 6. Woohoo! Yay! By this point, I had not used that cool toned gold shade yet, so I decided today was the day. Took a flat brush and applied that all over the lids, and then used a fluffy brush to blend that out into the crease. I liked that this color almost automatically shifted to a brown, and then in the inner corner, I applied that shimmering white color and applied just a little bit of that as a topper to the center of the lids. Took the same gold color and applied it to the bottom lash line, and that was one of the easiest looks thus far. The base of this gold was this kind of cocoa brown, so I didn't actually need to use a transition shade. And then for the lips, I decided to be a little bit bolder with a mulberry lip with a little bit of gloss on top. Woohoo! And that's it for day 6. Alright guys, we are in the home stretch with look number 7. So going back to that soft pink as a base, kind of a go-to favorite, just applying that all over the lid and more specifically into the crease as a transition, softening that out with a blendable soft skin tone color. And this is the last eyeshadow I had not used, and I realized that using a brush did not work, so I went back to using my finger. And I applied that brown all over and found that it smudged really easily, so I had to clean that up a bit. Wasn't very happy with it. The shade was a little tough to use, but I kind of went back and forth from my finger and a flat shading brush to get into the little nooks and crannies that my finger couldn't get, and then use a soft, fluffy blending brush to soften up those harsher lines. One thing that people don't often show here on YouTube is the effort it takes to blend, and it took a lot of effort and a lot of cleanup, as you see here, to get that to be as clean as it is. In this step, I am taking a flatter brush and very carefully applying that darker brown into the outer V shape to define it, and then using a blending brush to soften it out as I go. So I alternate between adding more color and then softly blending it out, adding more color and then blending it out some more. It's really a layering process for me with this kind of look. The end result is this beautifully blended gradient effect. Once the depth and color are to my liking, I go ahead and take a really soft fluffy blending brush and soften out all those edges. Now I'm taking that rust color, which is another color I have yet to use, and I'm going to try to incorporate this into this look somehow. So I decided to focus this on the bottom lash line using a really small brush. Then using the same brush and a little bit of hot toddy, applying that closer to the tear duct and then blending that into that rust. And of course, my favorite tool, the fluffy brush, to soften up those edges. Now I'm going back to that shimmering, metallic-y, flaky white color and applying that both into the inner corner and as a topper to those lids. And then finishing up the look with some mascara and eyeliner and of course a pink lip, because why not? And that's that. I love how this turned out. Okay guys. So my eyes are a little tired now. I'm just kidding. I actually filmed these over several days, so my eyes are not tired. However, I am kind of tired of this palette. There are quite a few warm tone looks I can get from it, which, you know, look different. However, I don't feel like I got a huge variation of looks using this palette, but I wanted to share some ideas on how you could utilize a palette like this, specifically if you already have it, maybe have some inspiration to use what's already in your stash. So let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm going to be doing more of these color story kind of videos. I have a whole drawer of palettes here. My last series was on the Soda Pop palette from Maybelline, so go check out that one. Links up here. So I'm going to give you the option to choose which palette next. You can choose Smoke Sessions by Melt Cosmetics, which you can kind of guess is a marijuana theme. Or we can go with the Revolution Pro palette Night and Day that I recently got. So comment below which palette I should use next for this kind of series. So anyway, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Stay electric as always and take care. Mwah. Bye!